The Calgary Police Service has arrested one man in relation to the disappearance of Lisa Michelle Mitchell. Mitchell, aged 31, was last seen at a residence in the southeast community of Ogden on Monday, October 29th, 2012. After not hearing from her for an uncharacteristic amount of time, Mitchell's family became concerned and reported her missing to the Turner Valley RCMP on November 17th, 2012. On January 9th, 2013, the RCMP turned this investigation over to the Calgary Police Service. And then after an investigation on December 5th, 2014, a search warrant was executed at the Ogden residence. The search continues at this time. Excuse me. The Forensic Crime Scenes Unit is processing the scene, and the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner has been notified. At this time, a 38-year-old male of Calgary is in custody, and charges of second-degree murder and indignity to human remains are pending.
Can you confirm the relationship between the person in custody and Mitchell?
They are, there is a domestic relationship, and they are common law.
Common law, husband and wife?
Yes.
And I understand that they have a couple of children. What's happening with them?
Yes, so the children are safe and sound at this time.
What leads you to believe she was killed?
I'm sorry?
What leads you to believe she's killed?
As a result of the investigation, we went to pulled our investigation together, presented the information before a justice who has authorized our search, and as a result of that, the search has located what we believe are human remains within the house.
When do you believe she was killed?
You know what, that will ultimately be up to the medical examiner to make that determination.
Has there ever been other suspects in this case?
You know what, there were a number of people that we examined for these investigations, and through that investigation, reduced the suspects down to the person who we currently have in custody.
Does he have a history with police?
Nothing significant.
What can you tell us about a plastic storage container that was removed from the home and brought to the medical examiner's van in the middle of the night last night?
You know, there were a number of items that were taken from the house during the course of the investigation. I can't speak directly to that.
This one specifically was put in the medical examiner's van, though? Was that the human remains that you're talking about?
As I stated, yeah, we did. What we have are what we believe to be human remains that have been taken to the medical examiner's office.
And when will we have more information?
I believe the autopsy is scheduled for Monday.
What's the reaction of Lisa Mitchell's family?
You know what, I went out and notified her yesterday of the developments. I think it's fair to say that she was aware of the potential for this to have occurred. I think she took the news with a measure of grace, considering what the news was. However, that being said, she did ask me to ask the media to give her some time and some privacy in relation to her time for grief.
Who are you talking about?
Lisa's mother.
Release the identity of the man you have in custody?
No, charges haven't been laid yet, and as a result of that, until charges are laid, we will not release the identity.
How could 3 people live in a home where there's a body for 2 years and it not be noticed?
You know what? There's some circumstances that within the house that will be revealed during the court process that will answer that question.
Can you talk about what moved the case forward? And she disappeared in 2012, and then the search warrant was yesterday. So can you kind of fill in some gaps in between?
So a missing persons investigation, we take in 3,300 missing persons cases a year within the Calgary Police Service. We wind up triaging those cases, and we look to make a determination of whether or not the person is voluntarily absent, or other means that would, why a person may not be in contact with their family. At the end of that, if we ultimately come to the conclusion that the person may be deceased, then we have to determine whether or not that person is deceased because of an accident, because of suicide, natural or medical causes, or ultimately homicide, which is the allegation in this case. So that takes a significant amount of time and resources to make that determination.
Was there some specific evidence that came to light, a tip that sort of tied in that, her disappearance was suspicious?
You know what, we've looked at this case and produced a significant amount of information because of those circumstances. There's no one piece of evidence that has led us forward to that conclusion. But as a result of the investigation, we're satisfied that we're on the right path.
Is the accused being cooperative?
Yes.
What role did the police update, I can't remember how long ago it was, but, between 2012 and now, the media updates spurring the public for more information, what role did that play in this arrest?
You know what? We received a number of tips throughout this investigation, and we did receive further tips as a result of the last media availability, which was in late October, by my recollection, which produced further tips and continued our investigation along until we reached this point.
Neighbors said that they saw 2 people being arrested last night. Is there any truth to that?
I don't think there's any validity to that, to my knowledge. There was an unrelated person who was arrested at the residence, not for anything related to this.
So that might be where that comes from?
Potentially.
What was that person arrested for?
Unrelated issues, outstanding warrants.
And the cube van parked out front there, was someone trying to, make a midnight move or get away there? What's the...
No, that's our vehicle that we use to transport evidence and exhibits.
How long do you expect to have the scene held?
Sometime. It'll be, I would say, likely a number of days.
How long has the accused been a person of interest?
I think that became a focus. I can't speak to exactly when that was. To give you an honest answer, I don't know exactly at which point that.
Since that update, perhaps, like since that October update, were you already investigating him then?
He was one of the people that we were looking at, absolutely.
Is it fair to say early on in the investigation he was a person of interest?
No, he's a person that is related to within the family and who we should have correctly been looking at. To say that he would have been a person of interest or a suspect at that time would be incorrect.
Can you speak to motive at all?
No, not at this time.
Does the accused live at that home?
Yes, he does.
Was that her last residence?
Yes.
Was there any history of being called there for domestic violence?
There is a minor, limited domestic history at that residence between the 2 people involved. But there were no charges laid from any of those investigations at the time.
Can you just speak to investigators' thoughts on this wrapping up? I mean, on one hand, you've made an arrest, but on the other hand, this is awful. These kids are without their mom, and this is a terrible, gruesome finish.
You know what? The kids are one of our primary concerns, and that's why we've been very careful with discussing these matters also before this venue. They are being taken care of at this time, but obviously they're going to need some additional resources later on.
Can you confirm the genders and ages of the children?
I believe there's a male and a female child, aged 7 and 5, and I'm sorry I don't know which one belongs to which age. I apologize.
So the suspect and the missing woman are the parents of the 2 children?
I'm sorry.
The suspect and the missing woman, they're the parents of the 2 children who are in the house?
My understanding is that the mother, Lisa, is the mother of both children,
Okay.
and that the suspect is the father of one of the children.
And just to clarify, there were 2 people arrested yesterday. One is the person who's going to be charged, and another is someone who is facing outstanding warrants.
There was one person that was picked up at the residence who was picked up on outstanding warrants. The suspect in this case was picked up away from the residence.
Where?
He was picked up out of town.
Where out of town?
I'll leave that to the court process, I'm sorry.